What is up? Welcome to Veeam on day 3. I'm Trip coming at you live from the beautiful Diplomat Resort in the beautiful Hollywood, Florida. There's no place like here. There's no day like today. At VeeamON, we have our tech keynote this morning. You're going to hear from the one and only Anton Gostev himself. He's going to be sharing some exciting announcements about Veeam Data Platform. You don't want to miss it, and you don't have to. Because even if you're not here with us, you can join in virtually just by registering at VeeamON.com. I hope to see you there. Now, take it away, Rick.
You're watching VeeamON Today, powered by Object First, and what a week it has been. This is day 4, day 3, I don't know. I've been here a while. We've got a lot of VeeamON to take in. We are live in Fort Lauderdale. I am Rick Vanover, the Rickatron, and happy to be hosting today's episode. Let me do a quick look at what we have so far in the books for VeeamON Today. First up, I guess it was Thursday last week, we had the first VeeamON Today show. You can replay that. I had Caitlin and myself previewing the content for the event. In the second show, we had Gostev. That's right, we were talking all things object storage. It's like a common theme of what we're doing here today. Yesterday, I had David Bennett, CEO of Object First, and then today, live with me here on the stage is Jason Garbus from Numberline Security, and Madalena talking community is what's up. So that's where we are. We're going to finish strong here with the VeeamON Today show powered by Object First. Now, it's really important to know, we have yet another general session. We're live on all 5 platforms, the 4 socials and the event platform. But if you're watching on the socials, you still can register for VeeamON.com. Go on over to the website. Felicia, can I get a push? She might push it out right now. Just letting you know the URL. You can join us. And we've got several, I think 6 demos today. I actually counted them wrong yesterday. And incredible stuff. Speaking of yesterday, I did a wicked, crazy idea. A horrible thing I said yes to. I had this show at 8 o'clock New York time, and then the keynote was 8:30, and I said, yeah, I will do both. I had to do one hot walk backstage through the kitchen. So let's take a look at what happened when yesterday's show was over. It's kind of cute. Let's roll that video. Holy buckets, that is not a flattering side of me, but I did stop to look at the lunch menu twice, actually. Only one cut of that made that in there. And the best part is that it made the menu. So that was kind of cool. All right, so I went hot over. We had a rockin' general session yesterday. I want to load up another video that gets a few kind of really interesting highlights of yesterday's general session, but friends, there's so much more. Let's take a look at the Rockin' Tuesday video.
Veeam looks at resilience across these 5 pillars: data backup, data security, recovery, freedom, and intelligence. The first is backup. Backup data is the first target of a ransomware attack 96% of the time. You have to make sure it's clean, it's locked down, it's immutable, it's air-gapped. You have it so you can actually recover from it.
You probably know Veeam has started as a VM backup, as a vSphere backup specifically, and since then we always kept our focus on expanding support for hypervisors because we want to meet the customers and understand where they are. Coming in 2024, well, one already came. That's Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager support. That is a no-cost hypervisor, right? You can download, start using it today. You can also have enterprise support with it, right, if you want to support it offering. Overall, we get more interest when they talk about OVIR KVM-based virtualization, which is Red Hat virtualization, which is this Oracle Linux Virtualization Manager. Do check it out. It's available now. We released it, I believe, already close to 2 months ago.
The impact of these attacks goes well beyond just the dollars. Many of you, 40% reported increased stress, 30% reported that their work-life balance has gone for a toss. Not like it was great before that, but it's become even worse. So there's a lot of good insights in the ransomware trends report. Please download it. It's not just about the trends, it's also about the specific steps you can take to minimize that impact. So Bill, I'm going to put you on the spot. If there's one thing you would tell here to everyone on what they could do to be ready, what would that be?
Practice. There is no solution other than practice. There's no magic bullet. There's nothing. You have to practice, and you have to do it regularly. I can tell on the first phone call, just by listening for about 15 minutes, how well or how poorly this is going to go, and it's reflected in how well organized and prepared or not a company is. So practice and get into a rhythm of practicing.
You're watching VeeamON today, powered by Object First. What an awesome replay of some of the keynotes. One stat stuck out to me, Bill Siegel from Coveware, that he knows in the first 15 minutes of a phone call how it's going to go. Wicked. All right, joining me live here in the studio, I want to introduce Jason Garbus from Numberline, just one of them, Numberline Security. Jason, thanks for joining us today.
Rick, thanks for having me here. This is great. It's been a great week. I'm not quite sure what day it is either. There's been a lot of content and excitement that's been packed into the last couple of days.
Yeah, and you and I worked together on another stream. He was a guest on a Tech Bytes episode, and I want to talk a little bit about Zero Trust data resiliency. I know you have some kind of core Zero Trust experience, and it was born in networking, but tell us what Zero Trust is before we put any other words on it.
Sure thing. So Zero Trust is a security strategy, and it's really become, I would say, a tidal wave almost in the information security industry as a way of taking the best practices that we've all learned about and brilliant people over the last 20 years have put together and combining them in a way that compensates for technology gaps, organizational gaps, and process gaps that have failed us so miserably if we look at the headlines and the prevalence of, unfortunately, effective ransomware and malicious actors. So what Zero Trust says is, you know what? We need to take a step back, and we need to not implicitly trust any user, any device, any network packet. Just because some device is on our corporate network plugged in and has an IP address doesn't mean it should get access to anything until there's explicit authentication, we do device validation, we validate the identity that's on it, and we explicitly evaluate policies that say, you know what, we know who this user is, we know what device it is, we're going to allow it access to the most limited set of resources possible to let that user or device be productive, but to prevent a malicious actor from doing anything worse.
That's really, really interesting because you can hear the roots of the networking side of that coming through. And we've worked a lot on what I call ZTDR, or Zero Trust Data Resilience, and I think I've got the slide ready. But let's take a look at this diagram that we kind of have agreed upon with Zero Trust Data Resiliency. And here it is, perfect. So the thought here, and let me narrate the backup side of it, and then maybe you kind of tell me the threat and risk side of it. On the left, production data, that's what we want to protect, right? And then we do that with backup software. That's how Veeam goes to market. But then the storage that it is in place, whether it's general disk storage, object storages, the cloud, etc. What really is kind of interesting, to your point, is there's this little red assume breach element up in place. Now, I know about permissions and I know about immutability, but how can I kind of navigate this type of diagram in a Zero Trust mindset?
So there's really three core principles to Zero Trust data resilience. And what it's about is taking the concept of Zero Trust and saying, you know what, this needs to be applied to data backup and recovery because we know this is typically the #1 target for attackers is, hey, let's attack the backups. We can exfiltrate them, we can encrypt them, and really bring an organization to its knees. So the concept here, which we worked out through collaboration between myself and folks from Object First and folks from Veeam, is the #1, this separation of the backup software from the backup storage. storage. One of those gets compromised, it's bad, it's not devastating because they're separate from one another. Second, multiple resilience zones. Clearly you want to have the 3-2-1-0-0 model. You want to have the ability to have the backed up data stored in different geographic locations to give you this kind of resiliency. And then of course there's immutability. So if you look at this diagram, it's about protecting your access, your resources on the production side, controlling access between them and the backup software itself to the minimum possible. Likewise, restricting access from the backup software to the backup storage through these zero trust policies, and enforcing the separation, multiple resilience zones, and overall underlying all of it is immutability.
Yeah, and you know, Jason, it brings up an important point. I talk a lot about immutability because it's really central to the storage conversation. But what I almost feel there's a little bit of math involved, okay? Because a storage system that has immutability, a cloud providing immutability, totally different control planes, they achieve the same outcome. I almost feel like by the math, by the numbers, it's very comforting that you have a copy of your data that you could recover in a cybersecurity type incident. Is there any math involved, or am I thinking too hard again?
First of all, we love math, right? I believe in math, and math is underlying cryptography, which makes so many of these things possible. And I think, you know, it's I guess the math you're talking about is having multiple resilience zones, multiple technologies, multiple locations, and having the confidence that you can recover that. And I think that one of the other aspects of zero trust data resilience is a non-mathematical piece, which is what we call proactive validation, which is, okay, you've got all of this technology in place, but for goodness sake, let's make sure that as an organization, you've practiced the recovery. You know that you're not relying on your super brilliant engineer, Sally, as the only one who can do this, because you know what? She's going to be on vacation when a bad thing happens.
Yeah, because the threat actors know.
That's right.
Oh, the Instagram post of on holiday, that's the time to strike.
That's the time to strike. That's right.
All right, let's take another look at a couple of different, I'm wanting to call these pillars. It kind of looks like DC, but some of these pillars of a zero trust strategy, you know, I really like the network and the application and workload and the data side of it, right? Devices and identity slightly goes out of my area of expertise, but some of these pillars, you know, what kind of resonates to you?
So these are, in fact, they are called pillars.
Okay.
So this comes from the United States' Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA.
Yeah.
And this has really become the de facto model for modeling zero trust maturity around the world. It's been adopted by everyone. So they've defined these 5 pillars, and they define these 3 cross-cutting capabilities you can see at the bottom of visibility and analytics, automation and orchestration, and governance. Within those, they've documented around 50 what they call functions that make up each of those areas. And this is a mechanism by which an organization can then measure their own maturity and their progress across 4 different levels. So I do this a lot with organizations. We go across these pillars and we say, okay, great. You know, on the network layer for these functions, you're at a very basic level. Oh, for an identity, you're up here. This is good. So it's a way for organizations to, you know, it is very subjective, but I'll say, have this external authoritative model to say, here's where we're good, here's where we need to invest. And that gives them a clear picture of areas of strength that they can leverage to accelerate their journey, and areas of weakness where they say, you know what, we're not very good at this, let's invest in prioritizing this so we can improve our overall effectiveness.
So Jason, this is fantastic, and you know, the numbers, the pillars, all of this is consistent. Everything I know about like something like the NIST cybersecurity framework, if you think about even some of the CIS controls, the CIA triad, all of these different things, and then, you know, in the end, I'm working for Veeam and I'm bringing products to market, and the reality is I want capabilities to map and align to these principles. And I think there's just a lot of noise in the market about a product versus a strategy or like a standards-based approach. And I love that, you know, what we've done here with our, I call it ZTDR, it just rolls off the tongue, but with zero trust data resilience, ZTDR, I love how we can just map to these and really provide a high confidence of data recovery in a ransomware situation. So this is fantastic. So Jason, thank you so much for joining us on the VeeamON Today show.
Thank you, Rick. This has been great.
All right, you are watching VeeamON Today, powered by ObjectFirst. Now, I've got a really special guest up next, something near and dear to my heart and important to the bigger technology ecosystem. But first, let's take a look at a word from our sponsors, ObjectFirst. You're watching VeeamON Today, powered by Object First. We are live here in Fort Lauderdale. This is day 3, or the Wednesday of VeeamON, and we are going to finish strong, and I mean it, friends. If you haven't yet, you can sign up for the VeeamON virtual experience. Felicia, can I get a push? We should, on the social platforms, get out VeeamON.com. You can register. We've got a keynote coming up in about 45 minutes, friends. Most demos ever. 6 demos. I had it wrong yesterday. Since when does Ricatron get numbers wrong? Look out. All right, next up with me is Madalena Cristillo. Maddie, my community queen, welcome. How are you today?
Thank you, Rick. Thank you for having me once again at VeeamON Today. We were here live last year, actually from Miami, but this year we are live from Fort Lauderdale, and it's really great to be back.
Community is important to me. Madalena, and I cheated this time. I had Sophia in on Monday, so we got 2 shows where we had community in. So it was super important to me. But Madalena, I want you to kind of go a little different direction and talk about something real important to our community strategy. And, you know, it's important to me. It's visible in our team. But there's more to community. And tell us about some of the important other priorities that Veeam is up to.
Yeah, absolutely, Rick. So I think 2023 has been a great year for the Veeam community in general, and we developed some new great projects and initiatives, and we were recognized at the highest level by Gartner, and we are super proud of that. But today we are here actually to talk about a new initiative that we started in 2023. We don't speak enough about it, so I feel like we should speak more, so that's why we are here today. But that project is developed, it was started in 2023 at the Community Hub. It's called Women and Allies in Tech. And we started because we wanted to give a safe space to, you know, all women that are starting their journey within the tech world, and you know, just wants to learn from each other and wants to have like a space where to share experiences and you know, be part of a bigger community, a bigger movement. And before I'm gonna get a bit more in detail on this project, I would like to just give an overview of the women in tech role in you know, nowadays. So when I think about that, is like you know, did you know, actually I want to ask you a question. Did you know that the first woman that the first person that actually was doing a computer programming was a woman, Ada Lovelace?
I did know that because we practiced, all right? But
Okay.
going into, no, I didn't. And we've got some important statistics here for women in technology. Maybe highlight some
Absolutely. So actually, on top of that, if you think about the 19th and the beginning of the 20th century, actually coding was done mainly by women. So if we look at these numbers, if we look at the fact that only 26.7% of women are nowadays working in tech industry, it's a big question mark. That's a big gap, right? So it's like, what did it happen in the meantime, right? So I believe if you remember in the 80s, there was something called personal computer.
You're that young to make it say, do I remember the 80s? Oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
Of course I remember.
Of course you remember. So it was marketed as a device for men mostly, you know, in order to play video games. So I think that kind of created a gap at that point, because men got to be literate.
Yeah.
When it comes to computers, and women were kind of left behind. So yeah, it has been done a lot, I think, since in the last decade, and women have been, you know, like companies and societies have been trying to integrate and to narrow down that gap, but it is a mindset, and we have to work on that, right, until we get it to narrow that gap. So I think Veeam has done a little bit in that sense. And we have actually, we started with an internal program that is Women in Green, and that is meant to empower the women that are working at Veeam and to, you know, offer them educational resources and help them grow in their career. So that was a great big step. And last year we had a program that is called Women Empower VMCE, meant for women that are working for customer and partners companies, and we offered 150 VMC courses, free courses, and exam passes, and it was a successful project. And what we did as well last year, starting more or less in parallel with the Empower VMC project, we started the Women and Allies in Tech at the Community Hub. And what we wanted to do with this project is kind of also integrate all the women that participated in the Empower VMC program. We wanted to give them, you know, a space to continue that journey. So we worked in collaboration with the Empower VMC team, and we created this space in order to, you know, to give them a voice, as we put it in there, and to help them to develop on their professional careers. And
Well, just a comment on that, Maddie.
Sure.
I mean, it's real important to me. I mean, if you look at our team, like, I mean, I'm a people manager here at Veeam. 8 of the 9 people on my team are female. So this is important to me in how I build my team. And, you know, what you have done here, and like I know Corinne has been really instrumental in this, and a couple of other members of our team, you know, it's important to give back and to, you know, share support and, you know what, and honestly, sometimes even be a little vulnerable, you know, because I'll be the first to tell you, I learned a long time ago, a guy can just walk up and throw up, we like to say, without preparing. But if a lady did it, you know, they're going to tear the person up. They're going to criticize it. It's just not fair. So I don't know. It gets personal, but with the way we built our team and some of these resources, we're taking a different view, and this is a great resource.
yeah, absolutely. And as I said, the group is called Women and Allies in Tech because we wanted to create a space where women and men can collaborate, and, you know, an inclusive space for everyone, and men come and support women in their transformative journey.
Indeed. Indeed. And then one more quick look here. Again, community.veeam.com. Maddie mentioned the Empower achievement. If you've not checked out our community, truly, it has been recognized at the highest levels. And Felicia, one more push if you can to check out community.veeam.com. We've got a VeeamON space, by the way. We can interact with everything going on VeeamON, that rhymes on Wednesdays. And the thought here is that the Empower VMCE is something to share. And, you know, I love this quote from Federica, who works on our certification. I'll read this out. She says, at Veeam, we think of education as a tool for professional advancement. The Empower VMCE is an initiative for all companies around us to upskill women, to gain confidence, grow professionally, and thrive in their IT careers and more. This is awesome. I just love the mission here, and really everybody can engage.
Absolutely. And as I said, like at the Community Hub, we are actually celebrating all this program. And as you can see, there is also one post from Federica also celebrating the first woman that passed the VMC exam, one of the women that were enrolled in the program. And we are hoping to do more in this space, and we are going to promote it more. Here is a QR code that takes you actually to the official page of Empower VMC. On the previous slide, we had one that it takes you to the group. So if you are starting your journey in the tech world, if you are an expert as well and you want to share with others your experiences and, you know, mentor them, please join us at Women and Allies in Tech at the Veeam Community Resource Hub for this transformative journey.
And so that QR code goes to the group. Right.
This one actually goes to the official page of the Empower VMC.
Empower.
And on the previous slide that we shared, there is, yes, this one, that goes to our Veeam Community Hub. And yeah, all women should be in there, all women that are interested in technology. And obviously, the subjects are not only related to to Veeam products, you know, it's just general conversations about technology and, you know, like trying to steer conversations around how we can support each other.
All right.
In order to grow.
Good stuff. Thank you so much, Madalena. Love that. Check out the community hub. And no, I got to check. Somebody asked, no, my shirt is not a QR code. It's a pattern. Goodness gracious. It's mushrooms, dandelions, and clover. I'm not making that up. All right. We have one more section here for VeeamON today, powered by Object First, and that is Steal a Slide. And I have two that I'm going to steal here today. Let's go. First up, something from the Data Protection Trends Report. We're going to take first up. Oh, I'm clicking and it's not clicking. We are live, by the way, friends. There we go. We're going to steal from the Data Protection Trends Report, which Jason has been talking about, and then which we have an Industry Insights at 11 after the keynote. And I'm also going to steal something about the latest version of Veeam Backup from Microsoft 365. So, from the Data Protection Trends Report, Jay Buff has put an incredible amount of work into that. Part of the news this week, one thing I want to highlight is that cybersecurity incidents, much like what Jason Garbus and I were just chatting about, are the common and most impactful type of incident. Again, you know, you look down at the bottom, natural disaster. We always think about fire, flood, and blood, but the numbers are telling us it's going to be a cyber incident. Another stat that I liked from the Ransomware Trends 24 report is that during a cybersecurity incident, 96% of attacks are going after the backup repositories. That means the threat actors know about how you're going to get out. So ZTDR sounds a lot more compelling if you look at it that way. Again, just reinforcing our story with some double-blind market data. All right, next thing I want to steal a slide from is from Polina and Tim Smith on Veeam Backup for Microsoft 365 version 8, some architecture and componentry. I'm told that is a word. Now, I want to highlight also, Corinne is going to be doing a live demo of VB 365 Veeam Backup from Microsoft 365 in the keynote that starts in 33 minutes, which you can still log in and register to see at VeeamON.com. The architecture, friends, is wicked awesome with version 8. I want to introduce draw your attention to, first of all, the object storage. We can have that first backup go to immutable. And the second thing I want to highlight is that there's a proxy pool kind of in the top center there. These are absolutely incredible capabilities for service providers and large organizations doing Microsoft 365 backups, and a PostgreSQL database configuration backup, which is super exciting, as well as a cache. Okay, so like the scaling, the architecture, all of this is super exciting. Again, we got a demo coming up on the general session, and let's bring it home. So Madalena, thank you so much for joining me here today on VeeamON Today.
Thank you for having me, Rick. It has been great to be back.
All right, so friends, we've just got a little bit of time left. You can join us at VeeamON.com. You can still register for the keynote. We have an Industry Insights episode coming up at 11, and we have one more day of VeeamON, and we're so happy that you had a chance to join us. Big thank you to our producer partners at the Taylor Group. Big thank you to the video team, Win, Mark, Robert, and Jeff, and several others that I can't even count. Thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the keynote in 30 minutes.